this computer. Okay. So I am glad you guys are here with me. And my name is Maria Lariva. As you guys know, it's actually Maria Fernanda Lariva. And I am an expert intuitive in emotional pattern recognition. I think I am one of two in the world right now with that. I work with highly driven women wishing to go beyond their dreams, professionally and personally, relinquishing the 7 universal wounds. So what I do is that I work with the emotions and not so much with what you come and tell me. What people come and tell me, you know, I have this problem and I'm going through this, or I can't solve this inside of me. It's all cognitive. I go deeper than everybody because I go further than the core, actually. I am not here to sell you anything. I am here out of my heart really to share my points of view, which are awesome, very different, have changed hundreds or thousands of people's life. So with this, having said this, you know that your points of view and your thoughts create your reality. So we're here to change our points of view. We're here to change our reality for our reality to become even better than how it is. So do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So I am going to be, usually I like to talk, but for some reason it's asking me to read it. So I just follow the energy and I follow what, you know, what things come up in front of me. So the first thing is what everybody talks about, and the psychologist, and I actually studied psychology in Brazil. I am not Brazilian, I am Venezuelan. I grew up in France, and then I came to the United States, and then I went to live 10 years in Brazil, and I lived in Switzerland, so all over the world. And I have a very different point of view of everything, and it was bothering me a lot about the ego. And I was one that was like studied the ego, and every single book that had to do with ego, I was right there. Like, let me get rid of this enemy. Let me get rid of this one that is bothering my life. And then suddenly I started creating projects. I started creating programs. I created an unbelievable retreat that it's a 4-day retreat that is awesome. And I did all that to myself because really my life was to the point that everything was wrong. Everything was terrible. And even though, you know, I lived and I have friends that live in castles and all that, at that point, I had $50 in my pocket, and I'm like, and I was a terrible parent. I was like, oh my God, I have to change this. So with all my research of 30 years of being, you know, studying psychology, I never wanted to be a psychologist because I thought it was too slow for me. Although with the psychology, I was able to perceive a lot of things, and I don't deny it, but it was too slow for me. I just needed to find something faster. And I knew there was something faster. It was like inside of me, I was saying, there is a different way for things to be easy in my life. I cannot believe, at the time I was very Catholic, and I don't deny God at all. But at the time I was very Catholic, and I would pray and I would say, I cannot believe, God, that you can be so mean to me and punish me. What have I done? I've been nice to everybody. And then I couldn't believe that. So I said, this is not it. It has nothing to do with God, because I don't believe that the universe, that God could be punishing me, because first, I haven't done anything. And second, if it has to do with karma, okay, so I'm paying for things from another lifetime. I'm supposedly brand new in this lifetime. And what the hell, right? What is going on? So after I develop all this and start working on myself and start working on people, and then it grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and I start growing. I launched my retreat in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. I wasn't living there, but I launched it there because I said, I got to prove that even with $50 in my pocket, I can do great things. And this is how it happened. And this is why I am here to share it with you and share, you know, it's, of course I can't share everything in 1 hour, but at least you get the point, and you're going to have your mind open. And please, I ask you to have your mind completely open, because These are very different things, okay? So what I emailed you is called The Ego is Out of Style. I wrote this long time ago. And because after a while, and everything was going right in my life, and I completely forgot about the ego. And then suddenly one girl came to me and talked, no, the ego, this. I'm like, oh, there you are. I completely forgot about the ego. Where was my ego these past 2 years that I've been successful? So I said, then the ego cannot be real. Really, ego cannot be real because if it was real, it would be bothering me even when I'm successful, right? So I would say this cannot be true. So this goes like this. So the ego is out of style. I think I am the last person I thought that would be writing this article. I was the biggest fan of the ego. Since I have been through an immense amount of spiritual modalities and therapies, I was the one out there blaming the ego for everything that happened in my life. How is it that we coaches and therapists don't notice that? I wonder who invented the ego. Why is it that in most of our things in life, we always have to blame it on something or someone else? So here is where the thing comes. Here is my first lessons to you guys. We are really blaming everything on everybody. People get angry and they blame it on the other person because the other person either didn't do what they were supposed to do, or didn't act the way they were supposed to act, or didn't do what they wanted them or we wanted them to do. So we get angry and we blame on someone else. If your finances are not right, oh, we blame it on the president, on the economy of the country. If marriage is not going right, we blame it on our partner. So we're always trying to blame something or someone else. And let me tell you something. After I notice that I should not be blaming anything on anyone, is when I start being the power that I am right now. Like I can manifest things and I can create things and I can live my life and really create my own life. It doesn't matter what is going on outside. It doesn't matter the president, it doesn't matter the politics, the economy, the COVID-19, like nothing has affected me at all. It has not affected me at all that much. And this is part of a course called the Course in Miracles. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles states that what you see outside is what you have inside of you. Okay. So I don't really see anything really wrong. Like I know, of course, I know that people that have died and everything. I have never seen anybody near me that have died. People that come to me, oh, my father died, my grandparents died. It has not become part of my life. I know the COVID is out there. But the funny thing is that I am also a nutritionist. And I know that the COVID is a virus and I can heal virus in less than 1 day. So I don't have a problem with that because I say, if I get it, if my daughter gets it, if anybody I know gets it, I can heal it in 1 day because I believe in it's called the alkaline diet, that no virus can live in an alkaline body. So they just simply die. It's like taking a fish out of the water. It cannot live outside the water. A virus cannot live in an alkaline body. So there you go. I don't care about the COVID. I don't have a problem. And I happen to live in a city that they never required the mask. So how fun it is. I was living in Orlando, a little bit outside Orlando in Florida in the United States. And I say all that because there are people here that are in Europe, that are, everywhere in the world. So my life was like, I don't really give anything for the COVID. So it wasn't in my life. I didn't even have to use masks. So that's how far that power goes of you really reflecting of what you have inside of you. So going back to what the ego and your power. So when I started saying my life is because of what I'm thinking, because of what I believe, that is exactly when I became a power in my life, or the power in my life. That is when, like, you never find anybody more positive than me. That is where everything start going right. And not so right, but the moments when they were not going so right, I knew exactly why they were not going right. And why do you think it was? You guys want to tell me why was something not going right in my life? It's because I was thinking of that something could not go right. So I was again a proof of me creating my reality because of what I was thinking. So I know some of you are going to say, well, Maria, how can we solve this? How can I stop thinking what I'm thinking? How can I? Well, of course, there is a whole process that I went through, you know, in erasing all the blocks, erasing all the negative thoughts. And there is a process about it, and it's possible. I'm just here to tell you that it's possible. And here in this few minutes that I'm going to have with you guys, I'm going to change your point of view in some things, at least. And that's what I'm expecting. I don't know if Amira, let me see. I don't know what she wanted to do. Okay, so she just went out and came in again. I don't know what she wanted to do. So, so what is the ego? The ego is, again, one thing. Okay, when you had the power, when you had everything, and you had the psychologist and you had the therapist, and you say, okay, so they start blaming the ego. So let's keep on with the reading here. So when we could not solve something psychologically, we had to blame it on something that was not palpable, an imaginary psychic entity that you can never reach. So that makes it really hard, because since we are blaming it on the ego, then how can we reach the ego, right? Like, how can we erase the ego where there is the theory that the ego would always be glued to you. This will make it all right, not for being able to supposedly fix somebody from the point of view of the psychologist or the therapist or whoever talks about the ego. When you're not able to fix somebody or something in your life, then you say, oh, it's my ego that made me do this, or it's the ego that we cannot do anything about it. So you end up putting the ego as, as God, and you depending on it. And that's what we have been taught. We have been taught that we depend on the ego, that we depend on all that. I want to see all of you guys at the same time. There you go. So let me see. Amira wanted to come again. I don't understand what she wants. Okay, there you go. Get her in again. So, so they say, suppress the ego and all will be fine. Or the last saying, supposedly on Style, is recognize the ego so you will not be tricked by it. So, so we have to suppress the ego. So, okay, so every time something happens, you can still have to be thinking, oh my God, this is the ego, so let me suppress it. And it's the same thing with emotions. With the emotions, people say manage your emotions. And like, God, that's so hard. That was hard for me to manage every single emotion that didn't want to. Manage your emotions of sadness, manage your emotions of anger, like anger management and all that. No, why instead of doing that, just get rid of them, right? Get rid of the negative emotions, get rid of the anger, get rid of it. And then you'll have a life with no ego, actually. They say, I am now trying to figure out how it is that since last year, I do not think of the ego anymore. I don't even remember it existed. I just remember right now because I attended a workshop where they mentioned it, so I decided to write this article. So are you guys following me? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm not talking, I could say Chinese, but I'm not talking Chinese. None of you are Chinese. So once I started to clear my own life from all the crap, the ego was completely forgotten. I guess it was part of the crap. So I guess the ego was part of the crap that I fixed, right? That I erased, because I don't remember any of that. Let me put the chats here so I can Aliyah, it doesn't matter if your device, I just come in. I hope you're listening. Okay, so what does it say here? So the ego is not really that powerful. As all the great spiritual figures say, with a simple question such as who does it belong to, that I learned from Access Consciousness, I was able to get rid of any uncomfortable thought, feeling, or emotion. So any anger, any sadness, any worry, even any pain simply disappear with a question. So this is the first tool that I'm going to give you guys. So, and this is a tool that comes from, actually it comes from, I think it's Al-Anon. You guys know what Al-Anon is? It's like AA, Alcoholic Anonymous, or Anonymous Alcoholics, but it's Al-Anon is for people that are being abused, okay? And when they have that anger inside of them, when they have, or the sadness, when they have any emotion that they don't like, they would say it's like an energy, like everything is energy. So if you ask the energy, okay, energy, who does this belong to? This is not mine. This is not the rightness of my life. I'm not supposed to be feeling like this. You can choose to feel like that though. You can choose to feel sad. Like, for example, my daughter was sad about, I don't know, something that she was sad about. I can't remember because it was a long time ago. Or gets angry. And then she says, Mom, let me be sad. Let me go through the sadness and cry. I'm like, okay, if you are happy going through that, you know where to go when you want to stop it. And one of the tools is you ask the energy, who does this belong to? Who does this anger belong to? Who does this sadness belong to? And then it's like by magic, it's like playing hide and seek, like that part of you is hiding. And once you notice it's not part of you, like at the beginning you think it's part of you, but once you know it's not part of you and say, look, this energy that I'm feeling is not me. So who do you belong to? Just go away from me. It's like it just goes away. It just goes away. If it doesn't go, some people have come and say, oh, Maria, but you say and you think it's so easy. I've tried and it doesn't work. Or you have to say it many times. Like at the beginning, I used to say like 20 times, you know, who does this belong to? Who does this energy belong to? Who does this sadness belong to? Who does this anger belong to? Who does it belong to? Who does it belong to? Until I would breathe. Like it's like I said before, playing hide and seek, and you catch it and they're like, oh my God, she caught me. So the game is over. It works exactly like that. I know it is a weird thing, but it works. Let me tell you, it works. So I said to myself at the beginning, I said, this is weird, but I'm going to try it, because everything that I have done, having studied psychology, having been a therapist, having been a coach, it is not working. So I'm going to try something completely different. So I tried it, I had faith in it, and it worked. So, finally, I finally accepted that I was responsible for my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions and my points of view. So when I started to, hold on, let me just close this door. So it says, I finally accepted that I am responsible for my choices. Choices include how I feel when somebody talks to me harshly, how to react, what I think. And yes, all that happens to me is mine and only my choice. Consciously or unconsciously. Remember, hearing that when you fear something like a dog, for example. So when the dog comes, God, now it's my cat that wants to get out. What happened when people are afraid of dogs and you go to and that person go to a place where they have dogs? What happens to it? The dog goes directly to that person, right? So what is it? It's what you're putting your attention to. So when you're fearful, when you're angry, you're putting so much attention into it that you're attracting more of that. So the same way fears that we have brought from this lifetime, others will follow until we clear them. So we have to clear that fear. The fear of the, in this case, I was talking about the dog, we have to clear that fear. So the easiest way to clear it, if it's not that deep, is exactly saying, who does this fear belong to? I don't want it anymore with me. I don't need it, I don't want it. And it would just go away. So one other thing I noticed and I talk a lot about is that the universe is there to serve us. You have like angels, whatever you believe in, energies, angels, the universe, God, they're right there waiting to see what you think, what you ask, what you say, because exactly what you think and what you say is what they're going to give you. So if you think that, for example, it was funny to me because actually I do have somebody that I knew with the COVID, but it was very far. It was a friend of the grandmother of a friend of a friend of a friend. And then because I said, oh, I haven't met anybody, I said, okay. She said, then, okay, I'm going to tell you about somebody that I know, the friend of the friend of the friend. So the grandmother got COVID, but nobody told her she had COVID. They told her she had a cold. And she was 97 years old. And she's alive till now, and it's been 3 months. Instead, the norm of what everybody says is that if an older person gets COVID, it dies. It's a sure death. But nobody told her that. So she didn't know she had COVID-19. So look how it works. Since she didn't know, she didn't call that energy, she didn't die, and she's fine now. And this is how everything works in your life. So when you think of something, when you're fearful of something, or when you are, you want to launch a program of yours, you want to sell a product that you sell, you want to, whatever it is that you work with. When you are thinking that you can't do it, or that you're not going to get enough people, or that you won't be able to sell it, or any of that, what is it that you are communicating to the universe, my dear friends? You're exactly communicating that, because that's the biggest energy. The biggest energy is that I can't do it. I'm not going to have people buying my product. I'm not going to have people coming to my classes. I'm not going to have people. So that is what is the universe. God is listening, and the angels and everything around you and all the energy. And they're going to say, okay, so that's what she wants. That's what she's saying. And she's saying so many times a day. So that's where we're going to send her or him. So that is what happens. And then what happens at the end? You're like, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen to me. I knew this was not going to be successful. I knew I couldn't do this. I knew I couldn't sell this. And then you reinforced it even more. So every thought that you say will attract exactly what you're thinking. Will attract that. So that's why I try to think positive, and I'll give you, actually, I'm going to offer you more. I'm going to offer you my how do you say that in English? My formula. I'm going to offer you my formula. So you can write it down so you won't forget about it. So you have a negative thought, okay? Let's say, oh, I don't have enough money to pay whatever I want, whatever it is. I don't have enough money. So the negative thought is, I don't have enough money, right? Okay, so let's change that into a positive thought. I have plenty of money, right? And since I am the queen of questions, because actually statements, they close you up. I am also, like I said before, a #1 bestseller with the book Ask and You Shall Receive. And that book is with questions, because the questions are going to open up more possibilities to you. A simple statement are just going to take you right there where you want. Like when people talk about the book, The Secret, oh, you can manifest anything you want. It is true, but you're going to manifest only from what you know, because you're going to ask things from the point of view of what you know, from where you know. And that's it. Instead, the way I teach of how to ask, you're going to receive more than what you have asked. You're going to receive more than what you imagine, because you are going to leave it up to God. You're going to leave it up to the universe to do that. So let's go back to the formula. The formula goes the negative thought, then you put it into positive, and then you turn it into a question. So I am abundant. So the question is, what does it take for me to be more abundant? Questions move the quantum entanglement. So we're talking about quantum physics now. Questions move the quantum entanglement. A statement would just focus on one thing and only one thing, and that is it. Instead, with a question, it's going to be so broad that you're going to receive much more than you imagine. So that is the formula. The formula is the negative, you turn it into positive, and then you ask a question. And that question, you're going to ask it 30 times a day. I know it sounds a lot, but say 10 in the morning, 10 at lunch, and 10 before going to bed. And that's 30. It goes really fast. It really works, because it opens up the possibilities in your life. It is much stronger than just a statement. I'm talking about statement. I'm going to go a little bit further with that. And remember, the statements is the, like we are taught mantras, and like every morning wake up and say, I am abundant, I have tons of money, I have tons of clients, I am healthy. And you have to say that as a mantra. Have you heard of that? You know, I don't know anybody that have not heard of that. Like I did that for like 30 years. It didn't work, because to me, I am very logical. Even though I'm not linear at all, I am pretty logical. And to me, I was like, every morning I would wake up, I am abundant, I am abundant. I'm like, looking at my bank account, I'm like, are you kidding? I'm not abundant at all. So I saw those sentences as very hypocritical. To me, they were very, very hypocritical. I'm like, okay, I'm saying I am abundant, I am healthy, I am this and I am that, and I don't have any of that. So with the question, everything changed. With the question is, what does it take for me to be abundant? What are the possibilities of me being healthy? That was more possible. And I was bringing a whole bunch of different ideas to my universe to be able to solve any of my problems. So if you say those mantras or those sentences or affirmations, that's what they call it, affirmations, and it has worked. But I'm telling you, it's supposed to work within, okay, for you, I'll leave it up to days. But if after a week it hasn't worked, then it doesn't work for you. Affirmation doesn't work for you. Try the questions. Because when I tried the questions, it worked in days. And now, of course, it works in hours and sometimes in minutes. And it is kind of magical. It is fun. It is not impossible. Just the very last thing that happened to me was my daughter grew up with me and listening to all this, so she has it inside of her. And she's now she's now decided to play the piano. And she said, Mom, I think I'm gonna start playing the piano. I said, well, you don't want to play violin anymore, which she does now. You don't want to play violin anymore. So I think you have to do an instrument. It is important for you to play some kind of music. If you don't sing, if you don't play the violin, you got to do something. She says, okay, I'll do piano. So we went to a dinner, and I said to my friend, well, yeah, Alexandra wants a piano. And she says, yeah, now I want to play piano. The next day, my friend calls me laughing her head off, saying, Maria, I arrived. Actually, she sent me a text at night, but we talked about it the next day. She said, Maria, like an hour before I left you from dinner, I sat down and I went into Facebook, and what happened? I had a flash, it flashed in front of me, my friend's post saying, I am giving away a piano. Perfectly working piano. And here it is, go and get your piano, because that's the way you work. You say you want something and then somebody gives it to you. I don't even know, my ex and my accountant say, Maria, you gotta know how much money you have in the bank account. I say, look, what I wish doesn't have to do with any money. I don't wish for money. I wish for, this is another lesson. I wish for what I desire, what kind of life I want, and the object that I want, in this case, the piano. I just wish I had a piano. And then it appears. Like, I know a lot of people laughed at the example that The Secret, the girl said that she wanted a bicycle and the bicycle appeared in front of the door. Well, okay, it can happen, I don't know. But for me, it happened that people have actually come to me and say, look, I have what you want, I'll give it to you. And every time I do that with my daughter, like I'm angry at her, I'm like, I'm not giving you this because no, you're not doing the right thing. And I don't think you deserve it. She says, oh, I don't care. I'm going to get it anyways. The next day she gets it from a friend. It's like, what the hell? Like, I can't even punish my daughter because she gets always what she wants. But this is how it works. This is how this works. And it does really work. So, so that is what that was. And I think I started with the reading that I sent you guys and I just went off the tangent. But if I went off the tangent, it's because I have to tell you all these stories here. Okay, so it says here, I have to read it because I don't know this part. The ego, as per Sigmund Freud, is born when a child is first hugged. At the beginning, the baby is only seeing outside of him, he says, Sigmund Freud says. After the hug, an act that would make him feel good makes believe the child that he is who others say he is, therefore giving birth to the ego. If a child has some kind of deficiency, then the child is classified as whatever the doctors say. And the child's ego is formed according to it. Could we then say that society creates the ego? Because then the child has that specific problem that is supposedly a problem psychologically. Like, for example, with me, I was never diagnosed, but I know now that I was ADD, or, you know, like I have to be doing a million things at the same time. I get bored with one thing. But the funny thing is that I am glad that not one doctor said that to me, because there are kids right there, right now, that are being prescribed for them to be more calm, for them to be focused, for them to think on only one thing. And my goodness, I see this as completely the opposite. I see this as somebody that is so smart, that can do 20 things at the same time. And I prove it with my own self. Like, I was in a conference. At the same time that I was in my conference, I was emailing you guys. I was listening to what the guy is saying, and I was making sure that everybody received the link, and I was testing the link, and I had two other windows open. Oh, I'm sending you the email with this writing. So why is that bad? So that is declared as something bad, and they give medicine to the kids to be more focused and to only do one thing. So in other words, you know what? You got to be dumb and be capable of doing only one thing. So that is society. There are the doctors. I include the doctors into society. They're telling us that we have something, when that something can be completely on your favor. Can be an amazing thing that is part of your life. But we hear to society that is bad, and then you start judging yourself as bad. When you judge yourself as bad, what happens? You are creating a point of view about yourself, and that is what is going to be transpired to the rest of the world. And that's why your life is the way it is. Because you're transpiring what you believe that you are. When in truth, you are an amazing, infinite being that can do anything it wants in this life. And remember that I said that I had $50 when I started, you know, all these things, and I launched my first retreat in Rio de Janeiro, and I said, I am going to prove to everybody that what I do is true. I thought about launching that course probably 3 months before. And in Brazil, people don't buy things in advance. They buy it like right there, like a minute before they have to pay it, the last minute. And people paid me 3 months in advance to be in my class. So I had the money to fly. Of course, I had to fly first class. And of course, I had to arrive in a 4 or 5-star hotel. Sometimes in the cities that I went didn't have a 5-star, so I went to a 4-star hotel. So everybody, you know, when I went there and they saw all this, they're like, oh my God, Maria, definitely. And the results were amazing. But I do what I teach and it works. I am not, you know, I took a year off of vacation and being with my daughter and having fun. Like most of the year, I am more having fun than working, because this is what I teach. I teach you guys to do something that you love, do something that is so much fun for you and so easy that you say, how can I charge for this? This is too easy. This is like stealing people money. And that is exactly what you have to be working on. And that is exactly what you have to be charging a lot. So whatever you're charging, triple that and charge that. Because if you're working on something you love, that's another trick. If you're working on something you love and you're still bored, then it's because you're charging too little. Raise your prices and you'll see that you start having more fun. And does anybody have a question? Can anybody would like to say something? No? All right. So I guess I'm explaining myself pretty well. Good. So I would say that having an ego, to me, is the equivalent of being completely unconscious and unaware of who you are. But I already told you who you are, so you're not unconscious anymore. You're a perfect, infinite being that can have it all and can be all you want. So there, you have the permission to be that, if you needed permission, because some people do need permission sometimes. So this is mostly this is mostly how my life has been going. It's being, you know, seeing, it's like a diet. I'm going to give you another trick. I call it what is that I call it? I call it the no complaint diet. Because every time you complain about something, you go 10 years back. So if you thought of something positive and something great happened, and then something bad happens and you complain, what you did is not going to be worth anymore. You go 10 years back. So the no complaint diet Do not complain diet is a diet that you stop complaining and you use the formula that I gave you. Oh my God, I don't have any money this month. Oh my God, I'm so sick. Oh my God, my mother-in-law bothers me. Change that into positive. Don't change into my mother-in-law is going to be great, because that's changing the other person. You won't be able to do that. But my life is awesome. I have people around me that are beautiful and that love me and value me. That is something that you can change yourself. So you're getting the way to do the positive. It's not only the positive, but when it's about you, you can change it, but you cannot change something about somebody else. So what happened is that most probably your mother-in-law is going to just walk away. She's not going to be in your life anymore, because you're only asking the universe for people that are going to contribute to you, for people that are going to be cool to you, for people that are going to be nice to you. And this is the main question that I say. I say it almost every day. What does it take for me to have a phenomenal life? Doesn't matter what it is. I leave it up to the universe to bring me a phenomenal life. And it surprises me every time, because it's something that I have no idea. It could be something that I wanted, but it could also be something that I had no idea. And most of the time, I had no idea about it. Like, for example, I wrote my book and everybody told me, Maria, your book went bestseller. So your next step is to start talking about the book and start writing things about the book and start. I'm like, okay, I just let them talk, because I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'm like, okay. But then I sit down, here in my house, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go the linear way. I'm just going to say, what else is next? What can I do next that will change the world, that will help everybody, that will empower everybody that listens to me? What can I do? And this little things that I was supposed to do every month, David knows, it just came out of nowhere. I had no idea. I have no idea how this came up. Actually, Swell did say, but see, it just came. Even if I had no idea, I had a person that says, Maria, just come. You will meet a whole bunch of my friends and come and talk to them. And then I put it on Eventbrite, and then some people just came from Eventbrite that I didn't even know. And they're welcome, because if they're following these energies, because they were supposed to listen to what I'm saying. So what happened after that, I just said, what can I do now? I didn't say, okay, now with the book, what am I going to do now with the book? No, what can I do now to make my life phenomenal and wonderful? Then came Brazil with the courses and my retreat that I enjoy so much. And then another day I will talk about how I talk to my companies too, because the companies are entities. My book created its own life and sells almost every single day. It sells in some part of the world, and it has its own entity. I'm like, okay, you're on your own now. I'm doing something else instead of me being on top of it. So I guess you're still here. You guys are following me. I am so glad. I am really glad. And I am so happy that I was able to share this with you guys. And I'm just thrilled. I've been big in Portugal, in Mexico, all South America, including Brazil, that, it's Portuguese language. And I'm now here in the United States. And actually I go all over the world offering my retreat, which is a 4-day amazing retreat, and supposedly always in an amazing place. And that's what I do. And I just have fun. I have fun in what I do. I travel, I travel for fun also with my daughter. And And I just, I always have always what I want and what I need. Because I don't only ask for things, In my book, there is a story, and I'll leave you guys with this story. In my book, there is a little story that says, you have the power to ask for that car that you wanted. Let's say people always say a Mercedes with specific wheels and specific sound system and a specific color. And they end up getting that because you're very powerful and you can manifest anything in your life. You can create it. You can really create anything in your life. But then, this is a funny part of the book. Then you pass, and then you're sitting down in a cloud with God and you say, hey, God, thank you so much for the car that I asked you and you gave me. And God looks at you like, well, yeah, you bothered me so much that you wanted that I had to give it to you. But in reality, I wanted to give you a Rolls Royce with a driver. But you asked me so much for that Mercedes that I had to stop giving you what I needed, what I wanted to give you. Instead, I gave you what you wanted. And this is why the questions that I gave you, the way I gave them to you, they're broad, they're open. They're not so specific because you'll receive much more. They're ready, the whole universe is ready to give you more than what it, hold on a second, I have my rabbit on top of my, sorry, I just got some new furniture and my rabbit was right on top of the white one. I'm like, no, I have a little rabbit and two rabbits and two cats. So, so this is how it works. This is how it works. Just open questions, ask for a phenomenal life, ask for an amazing life, ask for an amazing job, and you would receive much more than what you thought, because this is how it works. And now, and it, probably this wasn't before, because this idea didn't come before because people weren't open to it that much. So now people are more open to it. People are more, they're more open to energies or you can feel the energy in somebody. When somebody's angry, you feel the energy, that you see that it really exists. And and now we're vibrating in such a high level that we're able to actualize and create things much faster. And I don't say manifest, because if you look in the dictionary, manifest, it means that when it will be created, or how it will be created, but not exactly that specific thing will be created. So when you actualize something, it's faster now than before because of everything that has gone, that has happening in the world. We're more spiritual. We're more, we're not so materialistic, and we're more open to different ideas. So I thank you guys for being here. I adore you guys. Now you're part of my heart, because that's how I am. I know you put your email. If you mind, then tell me, but I almost ever send emails, probably once a month, to give you ideas or something, but I'm going to put your emails in my list, if you don't mind. And I don't keep on selling things. I just, probably I'm more a joint venture thing. I tell you ideas, and some other people, guide you with other people that would guide you. And I give you ideas of my own. And of course, when I have a project or a program, I put it there so you guys know, what I'm doing. But I don't blast you guys like every single second with something. So thank you so much for being here. Is there anything that you guys want to add? I know David likes always to add. I'm like, why is it that you're not talking, David?
You muted me, no.
No, but no, I muted everybody. There was a noise in the background, but go ahead.
No, thank you very much again for sharing your ideas. And I always like to add something, because you say, okay, you ask for everything, and I think it's a very nice way. I just for my personal opinion, you know, I work more with unconditional love. For me, if we look at ourselves, if we meditate, and through self-love, we can discover where we come from, and then we will feel this unconditional love. And as you rightly say, we are responsible for what we do. And I think we also should create our world in doing the things we do out of unconditional love.
Yeah.
Exactly as you said, the mind is always in the way, and the mind is afraid. You call it the ego, or I call it maybe more the mind. And I agree to that. And it's always, if you have a problem, it's the mind that is interfering with all the rest and blocking it. And intelligent people have more problem with this because they are more mind focused, and they have been taught to think everything and explain everything and do everything. And I think that's a very big challenge, and it's a problem for them. They just find the switch and switch it off, and let things happen and say, okay, is it in line with what I should do? If I'm truly myself, is it calm? Is it, yeah, I just like to do it like this.
Yeah, and unconditional love it's all what it is, really. It's, and we can talk about that next time, actually. David, next talk, we can talk about unconditional love, which is a whole hour also, because it's, you know, it's what I was talking. Once you judge, you're not loving yourself because you're not accepting yourself. Yeah, and that's what I actually transpire unconditional love. Like I'm, you know, I'm willing to do, you know, these meetings, you know, and I just know you, Angela. I think I met last time. Didn't I meet you last time, Angela? Yeah, and you know, Asia and Maria and Amira. It's like I've never met, and I look at them and they're like, oh my God, they're so beautiful. I'm so glad that you guys are here. It's like a present to me. Like you guys being here is a present to me. And I think that has to do with unconditional love. It's like, I love, you know, the human being that came to me, and the powerful, infinite being that came to me. And they're like already in my aura, already in my energy. And you guys are seeing that it's funny. In Brazil, they say, Maria, it's just to think about you and things change around me. So, so I am sure that after this, I'm not saying I hope, because I know, I am sure that after this, your life will shift. At least if you allow me, allow it to shift 5% or 5 degrees, allow it to shift 15 degrees. And if you allow it to shift 50 degrees, is, 60 degrees is even better. So thank you. I'm just so grateful for you guys. And that's another talk, being grateful. And you guys are, you know, are going to be here, and, you know, are going to be in my little group list, which is, I am very peculiar. I don't do this like in humongous quantities of people, but you guys came to me, and I have like a very separate list that is my people that, you know, listen to what I'm going to say, and then that are going to learn. And actually, you guys are not learning. You guys are just remembering some things. And you're not supposed to believe everything I say also. If it feels wacky, you're like, I don't feel that, but just keep on listening. And if some of the things that I say feel good, then that's the truth for you. Then you say, yeah, I like that. You don't need to like everything I say, but a lot of things I say are really cool. So I invite you guys to join me in future talks like this one. Okay. Okay. Does anybody else wants to say something?
I just want to say thank you. Like everything you're speaking actually resonates a lot. So which is actually very helpful for me, because I'm on my own journey right now, just trying to look at, you know, creating a different life, right? And so this is very timely for me. So, and even just asking that question open-ended, which makes a lot of sense, because I always had trouble asking, because I didn't know what to ask, right?
Right.
I didn't want anything like specific, or So this just helps kind of take that pressure off, because I always felt like, how come I don't know how to manifest? How come I don't know? I don't know. Like it's like for me, it was never any but just being happy, or things that we talked about, right? So this is actually really, it puts a different perspective on it. So thank you.
I'm glad. I'm glad I helped. I'm glad that I'm glad it resonates with you too. So I'm sure it resonates with everybody, because you wouldn't be here till the end. You would just click out like, nah, this is too weird, out. But
It's also different. So she said she's afraid to ask, and I had in the past trouble to receive, to accept, to receive, you know?
yeah,
So,
yeah. So,
was-
well, then start asking, you guys, start asking, and you know, and just, yeah, and ask, you know what, see the universe as that billionaire, trillionaire daddy. And I'm like, okay, now, you know what, give me a great life. I have things that I never imagined having, because I didn't ask for a specific thing.
This
Like for my car, I asked, what does it take for me to have an amazing car that is going to be useful for me and for my daughter? And I did say that had to be beautiful. I said it had to be beautiful, and that's it. That was my only condition. And I got a beautiful car. And then the same thing with the house, the same thing with my daughter's school, the same thing with everything I have. So yeah, start asking, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because the thing is that, remember to think, because when you think, you're also calling that energy. You're asking for that energy. So remember the formula, the diet of no complaining, okay? Try to do that for only 3 days. I ask you for only 3 days. And you do like the bread, you know, when you'd say, okay, I'm not going to eat any more gluten, not eating. And then suddenly you see a piece of bread and you put it in your mouth, and you're like, you swallow it and you're like, oh, was I supposed to eat it? So it's going to be like that. You're going to complain and you're like, oh my God, I complained and I already said, okay, let's do the formula. Do the formula, and you're going to see, like me, like I live in positivity all the time. Like and sometimes I do, no, I lie. Sometimes I do complain, but before it comes out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, shoot, yeah, the formula, let's do it. And it would change your life. So as of now, your life is different. Okay? So I sent you a big hug, a big kiss, and I hope to see you guys soon in the next one.
Ciao, Maria.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.